Like, I'm an American. You should cater your world to me.
Absentee, making up the mood tonight. Out of mind, out of sight. Might be down to the dwindling daylight. Flow, baby, flow. Flow, baby, flow. Sharing cheap wine and meaningless sex. Just we are too shit to dwell. We'll just let this moment pass. Late to break, so we'll grit our teeth. When you speak, your words taste like chocolate. When you speak, your words taste like chocolate. Flow, baby, flow.
That is literally the coolest thing anybody has ever done with my voice. Exactly. There's no way I'd be able to do any sort of organic chemistry whatsoever if I were sober. So you've got that right. And what was the sentence you wanted me to say again? What was the sentence you wanted me to say again? What was the sentence you wanted me to say again?
It's like new chapter, new brain. We're all millimeters, parameters of insane. Nous sommes juste des bourrés. You can find me anyway. What are you afraid of, mate? Flashing blue headlights on the gate. Farewell, old friend. Flow, baby, flow. Flow, baby, flow. Flow, baby, flow.
Yes, we are going now.
Okay.
The song is just finishing up. And so that little song at the beginning we had there, my buddy Callum, he from Norwich over in England, he made this song, and he took clips from the podcast. I thought that was pretty fucking cool. So that's what that was. So
Interesting.
hope you guys enjoyed that. Wait, try talking a little closer to the microphone.
Testing 1 2 3.
Okay,
So-
yeah, that's better. Yeah.
So is that what happens when you're just sitting around and have nothing to do on a rainy day in England?
I suppose. I mean, a rainy day in England is like
Every day?
yeah, most days. According to the Weather Channel at least. But I'll actually be in England very soon. I'm flying to London on Halloween Day. Of course, I won't get there till the next day, but I am flying out there. Going to see Belfast. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. After that, I'm going to Norwich because I always go there for some goddamn reason. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, when you going out to England with me? We gotta go sometime.
I was actually thinking March. That's part of the reason why I'm pulling insane fucking hours at work.
November, December. It's 5 months away.
Yeah.
It's actually not unreasonable.
Yeah.
5 months is that's almost half a year. Actually, yeah, when you think about it.
It's a long ways away.
For some reason, I keep thinking we're like halfway through November, and I'm like, oh, it's already.
And the trip total is probably going to be like less than $1,000. I'd imagine.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like what, $425 for round trip tickets.
Yeah.
So that's the most expensive part.
Right there. Yeah,
Right there.
That's a great fucking deal.
And you're not even at $500. Yeah, and that's $425 flat. Like when I bought my tickets, I'm also flying out of Los Angeles, and it was some ridiculous thing. I thought it was like $420 something or $440 or whatever it was. But yeah, it's like that. That's with fees and surcharges and taxes. So it's, I mean, that's it. It's like $400 round trip. I have friends from the UK who've been saying that they want to see the United States, but they need to save up money. I'm like, just fly to Los Angeles. Like, where do you want to go? L.A. or New York? That's where you should go because it's stupid cheap
And then just take a bus or something,
to wherever you want to go.
or a domestic flight, and then it'll still probably be cheaper.
Oh yeah. Or just do a road trip. Yeah, because we have those in this country. Can't really do much of a road trip when your country's the size of fucking Ohio, but
Not really.
no. Actually,
This is the road trip capital of the world, probably. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass.
would you in German there isn't a word for road trip? It's not a phrase.
Their country's a speck.
Yeah,
So
European countries are tiny as hell except Russia. With the exception of Russia, all European countries are just little tiny jokes. And we kicked their ass, and I was just looking up earlier. I put this on Facebook. I don't know if you saw because I post too much shit on Facebook, but I found they had an annual count for deaths per country from lack of healthcare coverage, and it was like UK 0, France 0, Sweden 0, US 32,000 to 45,000, Canada 0, and it's like we kick people's ass at everything.
I wonder why.
Well, I mean, we're number one. That's all I'm trying to say.
And that's deaths. I think. Do you think that's immediate deaths, or do you think that's because I think about how much shorter our lifespans must be. I don't have the actual number compared to other countries.
I mean, I've had a patient die in her mid-20s because she didn't have any health care. So when I worked at Scottsdale Osborne. So do you mean like would she have lived to like 60 or 80?
I'm saying like you don't get the care you really need. You maybe go to the doctor every now and then, but you don't get the care you need because you can't afford it. And then over your lifetime, that obviously is going to hurt you.
Oh, you're saying like those people because they're not added in that statistic. So
yeah,
you're saying it might be.
It's probably more than that
if you include those people.
Yeah, if you go long term.
Oh, I imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're probably tremendously more. Actually, yeah. Think about all the people that don't do annual checkups, and they find out they have cancer. They've had it for a couple of years, And it's like, oh man, had you just done your fucking checkup, but you couldn't afford. Like me right now, I don't have health care. I love health care, but I legally can't get health care. So that's fun, We have in this country we have a window in our calendar.
It's bullshit.
Yep, it's an enrollment period where you can get health care. Now, if you're outside of that enrollment period, you can get health care if you get married, divorced, have a kid, get a new house, lose a job, get a job, and a few other things. But if you're just a normal everyday Joe who has a job and lives at his house or whatever, and you're like, oh, I'd kind of like to get some health care. Fuck you. Can't do it.
Sorry.
Yep. Sorry, but we're not.
So just looked this up.
What is that?
Okay, let's see. The United States is 31st in life expectancy.
We're first?
31st.
First?
Japan is first.
Japan.
Okay, so the life expectancy in Japan, which has a form single payer,
Right.
is 83.7.
Oh, that's way higher than it is here.
The average. And then, drum roll, please. It's 79.3 for the United States.
79.3.
Yeah.
That makes sense because I think it's 70. well, these numbers aren't up to date at all, but I think it's like 75 for men and 80 for women in the United States.
75 and then 80. Let me see if that's correct.
I'm almost positive it's not, but I know at least a long time ago that those were the numbers that were being purported to the general populace.
For men, actually, it is 76.9.
Oh yeah, we've gone up 1.9,
And for women, it's 81.6.
and they've gone up 1.6. Damn, since I checked it 10 years ago, or more than 10 years ago. Holy shit, I'm 25.
You think that could be due to things like Obamacare? Probably.
I mean,
it kind of it expanded it a little more.
Or it could be just the fact that we invent new things every year.
It might be that.
Yeah, but I heard people talking about Obamacare on the YouTubes earlier, and it was interesting. Anytime I hear somebody say the phrase "pay for Obamacare," I instantly know they have no idea what the hell Obamacare is, and they don't know anything about the American healthcare system. Because I know so many people that say, like, well, how are you going to – all these things got to pay for the Obamacare. Like, pay for the what? Like, the majority of what the Affordable Care Act was just
regulations.
a federal mandate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's saying you by law have to buy private insurance. What do you mean have to pay for that? That's not a thing to pay for. That's someone pointing a finger at you and saying, hey, do this. But so many people just somehow don't know that. How do you oppose something?
A lot of
when you
people
don't even know
buy
what it
into
is?
the Republican propaganda that it's awful. It's great. It's fucking terrible.
Right.
Like it's driven up healthcare costs so much.
Yeah.
The Republicans say that, but then they don't look at the fact that the rate of cost increase actually slowed
slowed
under
down, yeah.
Obamacare.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, I've started asking people. I've only done it twice so far, but it's yielded the same result. When I've asked people, how do you know that? That's the question. They'll instantly start saying what they know, and I always cut them off. Like, no. I'm not asking what you know. I don't give a shit about that. I'm saying, how do you know that? Like the shit you just said, you don't have to repeat it. How do you know that? And nobody likes to answer that question because what's the answer to it most of the time? Fox News. I heard it. Someone told me. The president said. The fucking. Oh my God! Did you see USA? The fucking was it USA Today that the completely fact check free of Trump's Medicare.
Oh, the op-ed he wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
USA Today was the only organization that was just like, yeah, let's just blindly repost this and not fact check any of it. And I had a friend on Facebook who reposted the USA Today thing on it, and I was like, are you fucking serious?
I think they just wanted the publicity.
This is almost, it was almost as stupid as
I didn't actually read it. I just heard about it.
Yeah, it was almost as stupid as when when Trump said, take your government hands off my Medicare.
Was that Trump? I thought that was just some idiot at his rally. But I heard his remarks in a speech where he basically said, where he directly said that Medicare for all is
Medicare for none.
Yeah, is Medicare for none, and it's going to take all the Medicare away from all these older people.
He also made a point to say right after that he coined the term Medicare for none. To which I responded, "Of course you coined it, because no one's fucking dumb enough to say that."
It's untrue.
Like it's like the most popular form of Medicare for all right now is Bernie Sanders' bill, and Bernie Sanders' bill expands Medicare. Not only that, and they talked about how it fucks over seniors. Well, one, no, it expands Medicare, and two, it actually helps seniors. How? It adds things to their benefits. It gives them
they cover more
dental, vision. It also covers hearing aids. Who do you think's going to benefit from that? You dumb fuck. Like,
it's Medicare for none.
Medicare.
You are fake news.
You are fake news, and I don't want to hear it. I know so many people that use fake news as a reason why like an entire organization can just be discarded. It's
it's fake news. How?
Well, where'd you hear that? That's the question people ask me. Where'd you hear that? I didn't
Studies.
hear. I didn't hear it. I figured it out myself, and this is the study I used to come to that conclusion. Oh, that's bullshit. Really, you responded 4 minutes after I messaged you, and that study takes at least 3 hours to read.
I wonder.
Either you're a fucking genius, or you're a fucking
I think we're likely dealing
genius.
with an Einstein here.
Right. Exactly what I was thinking.
This one guy, I think I was talking about. This is another genius coworker of mine. This legendary debate I was having with this guy about Medicare for all. And I was talking about how 63% of the population at the time when I had that debate was for it. I believe it's 70 now.
70. Exactly.
Yeah, it keeps going up. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, it was 63% of the time, and he was like, 63%. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Where'd you get that number?
Everywhere.
We got it from a Pew poll. I think it was from a Pew poll, and he said, well, I'm not familiar with that. I don't know if that's reputable.
Yeah, Pew Research.
Yeah, Pew Research Center. No.
It sounds like some underground, like kind of indie. Yeah, I don't know how trustworthy that is.
I've never heard of that. Yeah,
Right.
I don't know. I don't know that I trust that. But yeah, Fox News and Conservapedia. Yeah, those are reliable sources.
Kyle Kalinske has a page on Conservapedia.
I know. I saw his video about that. I looked it up too. It's fucking hilarious.
Dude,
didn't they call him like a far left? They called him a socialist.
Yeah.
For one.
I think they also might have said something about having like Marxist rhetoric or something. It's been a long time since I've read it, but
wrong.
Right? No, it's just like it's the same thing. It doesn't matter
to the shit that he says.
It doesn't matter who they're talking about. It could be Kyle Kalinske. It could be Ocasio-Cortez. It could be Bernie Sanders. It literally doesn't matter who it is. They say the same shit. Like, if you listen to some of these Republicans and what they say, and then you just censor out the name, and you said, all right, guys, guess who they're talking about. They're all going to say, I don't fucking know, because it's the same shit. Like, I could say, oh, Mitch McConnell's retarded because of this. Lindsey Graham's an idiot because of that. And you'll know I'm talking about who I'm talking about, and I don't even have to say their name. But it seems as though when it comes the other way, it's just like, oh, they're a socialist, they're a Marxist, they're a far left communist, they're like Hitler, even though Hitler was far right. But it doesn't matter.
Do you know? Oh, I think I don't remember where this came from, but I remember something circling around around the internet about how Medicare for like Hitler wanted Medicare for all. He wanted Medicare for all. So obviously everybody who wants that they're Nazis.
Yeah, I think
single payer.
I haven't read too many books on World War II, but I think there might have been other things maybe wrong with
There might have been a couple of details that
Nazi
you're leaving
Germany
out here, sir.
Right. I don't think the fact that they all had health care was really the issue we had. I think there was something else, but again,
Did you hear
don't
that
quote
shit
me.
though?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, non sequitur. By the way, you mentioned Mitch McConnell. Did you see that fucking clip that he was in? I think it was on
fact checked live, and then he got all pissed off. He's like, "Well, we disagree on that." Okay, well, good night.
Disagree on the facts? Yeah. Okay. Where he was like, he was trying to make excuses for himself because basically he's a fucking hypocrite.
Well, he's been saying the same shit since like 1980, so.
You can't have a vote for a Supreme Court pick in an election year, and then he's like, no, this is fine because it's ours. Basically, it's
right.
It's a Republican. It's
Like,
fine. It's cool.
I thought it was weird. I was like, wait a minute. If there's about to be a midterm election and we call ourselves a democracy for some reason, we like to delude ourselves like that, then why wouldn't you wait till just after, let the people decide who they want to be the ones voting on the Supreme Court justice, and then after the election, then pick the justice and have the then have the Senate vote. Oh, that doesn't help. That doesn't help the narrative, because if we did that, there's a gigantic chance that Kavanaugh wouldn't have been a Supreme Court justice.
Right, because you have a lot of progressive people coming in the Senate.
And fuck that. Yeah. But,
so they needed to push it. That's why they were so keen on Brett Kavanaugh, even though, like, they could have picked any guy who was as much of a fucking elitist shill as he was.
Right.
But just why the fuck did they have to pick him? Because he has fucking like sexual assault.
Do you want to know why?
It's because they couldn't wait. That's why.
It's because he has all the sexual assaults against him. That's why they picked him.
What's your logic behind that?
So this pisses me off that more people haven't figured this out yet, especially Democrats, because I blame the Democrats and the left for the fact that Kavanaugh is now a Supreme Court justice. So think about this. in the past couple months, since we've been talking about Kavanaugh, not you and me, but America, since we've been talking about Kavanaugh, how many times on the news have you heard them say anything about Kavanaugh's view on NSA spying, on Kavanaugh's view on the wars we're in, or anything like that? You haven't. All you've heard about was the sexual assault allegations, which only helps him because it gives the right and a chance to say, look, these people don't or disapprove of skepticism. These people just blindly say this person's guilty. And whether he's innocent or guilty, quite frankly, I don't care. Because even if he was completely innocent, he's a horrible, horrible candidate to be on the Supreme Court. But the Democrats
They're
are
not focusing on
right,
his
they're
record.
so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
All they cared about was, and as soon as they made that decision, like about a month and a half ago, to only care about that, I was like, he won. That's it.
Essentially.
Like you fell for the Republicans' plot because Dr. Ford told the Republicans beforehand, hey, we're in this whole like thing where he assaulted me or allegedly assaulted me a while ago, and I'm going after him right now, so you should probably not pick him or else this is going to come up. So what the Republicans do? Okay, sweet. We're going to pick him then. Instantly. Didn't think about it. And I was like, that's kind of fishy.
Yeah, he had to have known what he was getting into because this shit happened in like 2012.
2012. That's when it started. And
That's a good point.
Blasey Ford told the Republicans before they picked him, hey, if you're thinking about picking him, you might not want to because this is all coming up and it's going to be a big deal.
I didn't think about that because you can't really defend the fact that he's for warrantless NSA spying.
Right.
You can't do that.
Yeah, how do you defend that? You can't. Even the Republicans are against that.
So, might as well throw the fucking bait out there. And the Democrats, because they're brainless, they went for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, they didn't focus on any substance whatsoever.
Right.
They just focused on the sexual assault allegations. Which, while, yes, it does give a peek into his character. He's a piece of shit.
He just poofs. He likes beer. I liked beer. I like beer still.
That's not the shit to talk about when you're appointing somebody to the Supreme Court.
Look, I like beer.
Because that's not going to be relevant in the fucking slightest.
Women's rights, not so much. But beer?
That's fine. Yeah. Wow. They were having fucking conversations in a Senate hearing about shit that high schoolers put in their yearbook. Meanwhile, now we have a person who may very well attempt to overturn Roe versus Wade.
Oh yeah.
Who may now that who may, along with the rest of the Republican fucking shills in the Supreme Court, kill any attempt at a Medicare for all system because some fucking right wing group is gonna sue over Medicare for all once it inevitably gets passed. So now for the next 30 years ish. The Supreme Court could very well derail that. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah. So I honestly, my hope has gone like way down for a Medicare for all system, and that just makes me want to basically leave the country a lot sooner. Because there's I don't see much of a way that it could get passed and not immediately overturned by the courts.
The thing, who's the guy who just the other day was saying, get your coat hangers ready? Who made that comment?
I don't know. Some asshole. He was in like state
remember.
government.
Yeah. I can't remember
he
who
wasn't
it was.
even relevant.
Right, but the thing is, it's like that. But that's what they do, though. They try to pull the wool over your eyes as though, no, we're not going to go after Roe v. Wade. And then as soon as you get the justice in, it's like, all right,
no.
now
Come
it's
on.
time. Come on,
You
guys.
knew what was going to happen.
Right. Well, it blows my mind because I still the thing for me with the people who are anti-abortion, the question they just can never answer to me every time is if it is illegal for a woman to get an abortion, meaning it is illegal. Well, okay, if you want it to be illegal, you have to also say it is legal to force people, not just women, but people, to donate their organs. And you say, how can you justify that? Well, the first time I ever had this conversation was at a university, and I was saying, do you agree that a child has the same rights as a fetus? And then the Republican to whom I was speaking, he said, yes, they do have the same rights. I said, okay, let's take this for example. A 2-year-old son. This is totally possible, could actually happen. 2-year-old son has liver failure, O-negative blood type, super hard to find a transplant, nearly impossible. His mother is a possible donor. She could donate a portion of her liver to the child, and she would live, and the child would live, and it'd be all good. But she doesn't want to, for whatever reason. This hypothetical. Can the doctor force her to give part of her body to the kid, or do you just let the kid die? Well, I'll give you the answer because I've worked in hospitals. We just let the kid die. And it sucks, but that's life. You can't force somebody to give a part of their body to another living organism. You just can't. And I said, that's why I can't have abortion. He's like, well, it's different. I said, no. You just said a minute ago that they have the same rights, a child and a fetus. Now you're saying a fetus has special rights? They get additional privileges that a 2-year-old doesn't? So you're defeating your own argument. So until you can find me an answer for that, abortion has to stay legal because you can't force people to donate part of their liver to their child. So why can you don't have them donate a lot more than just their liver?
I mean, they're essentially just taking from the mother until they're born. You know.
Yeah, constantly. Dilating their fucking veins, taking a good portion of all their nutrients. Like when my mother was pregnant with me, I guess she wanted peanut butter all the time, and I was like, yeah, gotta have that protein for the gains. You know, I'm all about them gains.
Made a lot of them. Had a good 9-month transformation.
Oh yeah. Nah, dude, but seriously, when I started the whole pregnancy thing, I was like a single cell. Now look at me. I'm fucking huge.
Started from the bottom, now we here.
I'm trillions of cells, bitch. Oh yeah, but speaking of trillions of cells, I'm not in school anymore. And so I have a lot more free time.
Isn't it nice?
Oh, kinda, yeah, actually having free time.
It must be nice to have free time.
I mean, I'm not... The reason I'm not in school isn't for personal choices, though. No, actually. For those of you listening who might find this interesting, I was going to university at Arizona State University, and I was trying to get my my undergrad degree so I can go on to graduate school, whatever. And I was doing what most people do, where I was taking out loans from the government, and then someday, 6 months after you are no longer in school, you got to start paying them back. But by then, you should have a better paying job because you just graduated college, right? Well, as you all know, they've been cutting education funds, and they keep doing that, and they always will. Long story short, FAFSA, the financial aid, government aid for the United States when it comes to universities and colleges, they're not offering me enough, not even to cover my last semester. And so I just can't go to school anymore. And you'd think, well, what about the VA? Well, no, Ted Cruz took away my ability to use the VA. So that's already out the window. And so I had no other option but to just, I guess quit. And if I can ever afford it again, I'd like to go back. ASU is smart because they're like, you owe us like $3,000 from last semester. And I said, okay, well, let me just get a copy of my transcripts because, But you can't until you pay for it. They won't even give you a copy of your transcripts. And I have over 100 credits. So I thought, you guys are fucking smart. Because...
Evil,
yeah,
but smart.
Right, because what's to stop me from just going over to a different country where it's free and studying there, and then contributing to their economy, and then giving them my knowledge, and giving them my knowledge, not the United States. What's to stop me from doing that? ASU's policy, or it's not just ASU; it's a U.S. thing. Their policy, yeah. If you haven't paid the tuition, you can't get the copy of the transcripts. You're so fucking smart. That really is genius. That's so genius.
They are a little evil. I've been hearing anecdotally.
Yeah. It seems as though I've been reading there's a higher rate of dropouts recently, especially with men. I don't know why that is. I didn't care to read into it because I was too sad. But apparently that's a big issue. Like there's a guy with whom I work. He was going to school for astrophysics. No, yeah, directly astrophysics. That's what it was. And he got like 2 or 3 years in, then he had to quit too because he couldn't afford it. Doesn't matter. Like I have all those little pieces. Well, I throw them away to be honest. The little certificates that say you've made the dean's list. Because if you get a 3.5 GPA or higher in a semester, then you get a little thing saying you made the dean's list. And I used to save those until I realized they're pointless and started throwing them away. But that doesn't even matter. Even if you get good grades, if you have a good GPA, if you're a good student, doesn't matter. Does not matter in the slightest. So that's fun.
That's really fucking scary. Like even if you want to go into massive debt,
right?
You can't.
Oh, I'm already over $50,000 in student loan debt, which is I'm really glad to be that much in debt to not have even a piece of paper for it. I've never even like failed a class, so it's like, what the hell?
It really is frightening because like the ideal is you're supposed to. The ideal is that you're supposed to go to school for 4 to 5 years, get in a fuck ton of debt. Average I think is 60,000, and
Sounds right.
Yeah, and then get a better paying job, maybe pay it off in your 50s. But you can't even do that now. It's almost like
My dad's still paying off his loans. He's 54.
yeah, exactly. It's not. It's almost like this administration purposefully wants uneducated masses. You know,
It does benefit the establishment for the people to be less educated.
right? Because then they don't know what the hell's going on. They don't get angry.
Right.
They just deal with it and live in abject poverty and live terrible lives.
Right. They don't have time to get angry.
Right.
They got to work 50 hours a week just to make ends meet.
I'm in that fucking boat myself right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just don't understand it. Like I'm now at the point where I'm like, how can I save money long term? And if you notice, I got a bunch of boxes over here. I got more coming. I'm buying a bunch of gym equipment because I want to build my own gym, because that's one tiny way I can save money over a 3-year period. And it's crazy that a 25-year-old would even think about some stupid shit like that. Like, how can I save $30, fucking 3 years from now? You know? Because it's like we can't think short term anymore. This isn't the 1960s, you know? We got to plan all this crap out, and it's horrible. And I've been trying to find newer ways to save money. Actually, all that stuff up there, I'm actively in the process of like throwing away almost all the shit in my kitchen. I'm getting an 8-quart crock pot. It's coming tomorrow from Amazon, and I'm just gonna use that. Just throw all because all I eat is meat. I'm a carnivore, right? So I just throw all my shit in there, have it cook for like 8 hours, come home, and then just have a fucking feast. And that's it. One plate, one bowl. That's all I need. I've only ever known one other person to live that menially, and that was Ellen. And I always thought that was crazy that she did that, but no, that actually makes a lot of sense. I'm one person. I don't need more than a plate.
It's difficult, that's for sure. But I mean, going back to the college thing. I mean, yeah, the fact that you have to do that, or that anybody has to do that. I mean, right now I am working. I'm paying for school out of pocket. I don't know if you knew that. I think I told you that. Yeah. Which is part of the reason why I'm working like 80 hours a week, is so I don't have to have any debt when I graduate. I don't think I'm going to be able to keep that up when I'm in university.
Yeah, because it's like $17,000 a year for tuition.
Yeah, I'm just at community college right now. I think it'll help.
Dude, I looked up the price of community college. It's so fucking reasonable.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, if this is what college costs, I'd shut the fuck up. I wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, and so, which is also part of the reason why I'm going to do all the gen eds I can.
Oh yeah,
at CC.
That's smart.
And yeah,
because once you get to like the 300s and 400s, you pretty much got to go to university, because community college doesn't have, well, at least the ones I needed didn't have any of them. Like all the classes I have left, not a single Maricopa Community College had any of those classes.
It's just the bottom 2 tiers. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like usually the first 60 credits, but I mean all the gen eds, you can take those generally.
Right, you can get associates through community college.
Right. What my buddy did, and I actually had a couple of friends who did this, is they just got their associates in liberal arts, which is essentially all of the gen eds.
Okay.
And then did he did his film degree, which is what he got in at TU, and at the university level. So he just did all of his gen eds with his associates, and then did all of his bachelor's coursework, his core curriculum, the 2 later years at university. So he wasn't paying for the miscellaneous bullshit that we don't really need, you know?
Yeah, and student loans is so weird to me, because you can't file bankruptcy on them, which is kind of horrible. But the cool thing is, if you die, they go away. So that's cool. I think they're actually the only loan in the United States that does that.
That's still so weird though that you can't declare bankruptcy on that.
Right, on that. Yeah.
Specifically. What's the difference between that and like a credit card realistically? Because you can still buy.
One's physical, one is knowledge. But
well, here's the thing. My point was you can still buy things that are intangible with a credit card.
True.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
So why is that any different than a student loan?
Well, have you ever considered fuck you?
Just go fuck yourself.
Yeah, have you ever thought of
Hey,
it from that
it's
angle?
very reasonable to start your young adult life at average $60,000 in debt. Yeah, that's not going to lead to a bubble or a crash at all.
Yeah, I was just thinking that because people generally say that if you don't have children in your 30s or 20s and 30s, obviously, but if you don't have kids in your 30s, then your 30s is basically what your 20s should have been because it's just your 20s, but now you have money. And so I'm definitely thinking I'm not going to have kids anytime soon.
Oh, yeah, no.
Because I would like
No.
to experience my 20s sometime. Maybe in my early 30s I'll be 20. That'd be cool.
Right? It'd be great not to work 80 hours a week
Yeah,
and go to school.
that's what I noticed. Now that I'm only working like 45 hours a week and not going to school, I was like, what do I do with this free time?
It's nice, isn't it?
Like, what the hell? What do people like? People who
Bro.
work on like in France, if you're working 32 hours a week and then that's it, that's like your. I mean,
Just self-improvement.
what do you like? Learn languages? What do you like? Learn instruments? Do you have a
They
life?
average, like 3 languages, something like that.
That makes sense. France is really, really high in atheism. So
Yeah.
generally, countries that are more atheistic generally have a more educated populace, and generally people who are more educated speak multiple languages. So I could see how that conclusion could be easily derived.
Basically, they're smarter than us.
Yeah, basically.
I think I told you this story. I don't know. The people listening might be interested in it. When I was living in Germany with my family, we went to the food court at an IKEA while we were shopping for furniture, and the cashier. This is a cashier. Started speaking to us in German when we were about to check out, and obviously we just gave him a deer in headlights look because none of us.
Ich kann nicht dich verstehen.
The fuck you say? Basically is how
Right.
we reacted. So we just gave him the deer in headlights look, and he's like, parlez-vous français? Habla español?
English, perhaps.
English perhaps. And we're like, you just cycled through like 50,000 different languages, and you're like, that's just a cashier, you know? And not to like belittle cashiers, but like that's somebody who doesn't in any way, shape, or form need to know those languages.
Yep.
And that's
It's like Come Fly With Me. It's a British show made by the same guys who made Little Britain. There was an episode where some guy was like that in an airport where he was like, Parlez-vous français? Do you speak English? Sprechen Sie Deutsch? And then the Chinese guy starts speaking German. And he goes, oh, okay, well, all I know is Sprechen Sie Deutsch, so...
come on.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that's cool that that you actually met a guy who could just kind of cycle through.
Well, and that's pretty common for most people
Yeah,
in
it's
Germany,
crazy.
especially the younger generations.
They all speak English. It's insane.
Yeah, well, many of them speak multiple languages.
Right.
I think anecdotally, like the vast majority of them. Like there was this girl that I knew in this little village that I lived in Waldmoor. She when I was living in Germany, she knew French, German, and English. Yeah, so she knew French, German, English.
Yeah.
And she was just 17.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah,
It's kind of like Camilla.
it was hot as fuck.
The Norwegian exchange girl.
Nice.
Is pretty much like my little sister now, but she speaks obviously Norwegian and English, and she also, I'm pretty sure she's at least decent in German because I can speak a little German with her like her mother, for example. Her mother's fluent in German because she works a job where she has to speak like a ton of different languages. She's fluent in English and whatever. But yeah, she can understand me when I speak German, and I'm pretty sure she speaks other languages too. Just it's like a thing in Europe. People just because we don't have neighbors.
No.
Our neighbors to the north is Canada, right? Which we always forget is even a country. Our neighbors to the south isn't a first world nation, so we disregard them. And there's no one to our east or west because we're just surrounded by water. And our closest neighbors are, well, other than South America, which we also don't give a shit about. Our closest neighbors that we give a shit about is Europe, more specifically Greenland. But even that, it's super far away. That's thousands of miles. So, it's not like in Germany where you can, I made a wrong turn. Oh, sorry, this is France. You can just, you can just get on a train and wake up and you're 4 countries away. That's not a thing here. So we have no and people always say, like, yeah, you should learn Spanish as a second language. And I always say, why would you learn Spanish? Like, it's good to learn it here. It's like, why are you so self-centered that all you give a shit about is your current location? Think about the world globally. Like, 50 years from now, you think you're still going to be living here? And if you are still living here, do you think it's still going to be the same paradigm? It's not. That's silly. It's like, learn a language is actually, if you want to learn Spanish because of family or whatever, that's cool. But to say, oh, because I live in an area where Spanish is popular, it's like, do you still think you're going to think that 40 years from now? That's retarded. It takes a long time and a lot of effort to learn a language. If I learn a language, I want it to be something that I can use anywhere, not just when I'm near Mexico. That's silly. What about Spain? Yeah, speak English there because they speak English. Like Germany, they speak English.
Like every European country.
Yeah, exactly. Because of the damn Brits pre-1997 when they were still the British Empire. Yeah, they were fucking cunts. Killing millions of people, dominating the world. Yeah, it was kind of important that you learn English. Thanks, Britain.
No, honestly, thank you, because now we can be lazy.
Hey, now we can just be like, hey, why ain't she speaking fucking American?
I got laughed at when I tried to speak German in Germany. They're just like, basically, I attempted to, I think I asked for directions. I don't really remember. I was like 16, and I attempted, and they just kind of laughed and started speaking English, like dumb American.
Wo bin ich? Was ist hier? Ich weiß nicht. And they're just like, so where are you trying to go?
Yeah, they were looking around for my legal guardian at that point.
Where is your carer? I believe that is the word in English. Carer? Yes. Where is your carer?
Yeah, it was a good time. But like, why are we like that though? Why are we even in England, like, there's an emphasis put on like learning like French and shit.
They are like, the Brits are like that too though. Like when they go to Spain, they're always like, why aren't people speaking English? I mean, they're dumb like that too. They're no different. They're pretty much just America light,
basically.
Yeah, but no, they do emphasize things like I'm gonna butcher this, and any English fucking redcoats in the audience can correct me if you want. But I believe in most of their primary schools, you can learn French. I think you start by learning Spanish. I think maybe Spanish, and if you do well, then you can learn French, and you can excel at that. Then go into harder classes like German. And so there will be a lot of people growing up in their public education system that they've been exposed to Spanish and French and German at a younger age. They won't even be 18, and they would have already learned at least something in each of these languages. Think about how many Americans you know that don't know anything in any language but English. I mean, maybe like hola. They could say ¿Cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás? Estoy muy bien, gracias. ¿Y tú?
Muy bien.
De nada.
Gracias.
Yeah, that's us.
De nada.
Yeah, no me gusta el español, es muy difícil. But no, it's just crazy how many people here don't speak anything. And someone pointed that out to me because when I was telling some coworkers at work, obviously, that I was no longer going to university, they were saying that, oh, it's so unfortunate because you're a smart guy and you're really motivated. And I think you'll make it someday. You speak multiple languages. It's so cool. I'm like, why is that significant? Like, yeah, I'm a cool guy. You should definitely say that. you should definitely suck my dick about that. But
Thanks.
thank you.
For recognizing the obvious.
Right. I
Wow.
mean, it's like when someone comes up to you in the gym when you're doing pull-ups and like, wow, you have really strong arms. You're pretty hot. I just say, fair enough, and I keep going.
Touche.
Yeah. Of
You
course.
got me.
I mean, I don't know what it is about the dude. Okay, do you know any good gyms to go to? Because I'm obviously trying to build my own gym, but it's not going to be done for a few months. Do you know any gyms that are 24/7, have more than 60-pound weights, have a bench press, not just the Smith machines, and also is on the more expensive side, so that way there aren't a bunch of fucking people in my gym? Do you know any gym? Just those 4 criteria. I put a question up on Facebook.
Not really. No, that doesn't exist.
Right. I mean, they exist in like Los Angeles, but I don't live in Los Angeles. Which is horrible.
Yeah, I feel like the perfect gym for me would be, I've had an LA Fitness membership, which was good for the most part, and now I have a Planet Fitness membership. If they combined them, like the classes of LA Fitness and the 24/7 quality of Planet Fitness,
That is one thing.
It'd be the perfect gym, because LA Fitness had some great classes. Like I took yoga there all the time. And that was great. And you could go to like every location, like countrywide, just like you can if you have a black membership with Planet Fitness. And just on your way to work, you see a Planet Fitness, you see that they have a class going on. Okay, yeah, cool. And the classes are halfway decent, just included with your $30 membership.
Yeah, LA Fitness is nice. It's not a bad place to go. I mean, they're a scam. So
If you do the
exact personal
trainer,
don't do that. Don't ever do that. So they're totally a sham and a scam. But no, their facilities are generally pretty nice and everything. I just have a problem with there's just so many goddamn people. Like the other day I wanted to use the Smith. Why did I say like that? The other day I wanted to use the Smith machine. I saw someone was on it, so I went and did something else. 20 minutes later, someone's still on. It's just like, Jesus Christ. I don't want to sound like Mussolini here, but why are there so many goddamn people? We need to eliminate them. You know what I mean? And so
that seems like a reasonable opinion to have.
it's the roids, man. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing steroids. But I have found something that I accidentally discovered this about 2 months ago. And I never said this to anybody. In fact, I actually thought it was weird until I heard Joe Rogan say he does the same thing. That actually made me feel a lot better. But I like to think a lot when I'm exercising because my mind never stops. One day I was doing flies, and I don't know why, but I was thinking about what would happen if like some person threw like a toddler into a lion's little area in a zoo. I mean, you'd have to go in there and try to save the toddler, right? Obviously. But I was thinking, how would I fight off a lion? I know quite a lot about lions. I would never get into a fight with a tiger, but I might with a lion. And so I'll think about what I would do to kill the lion, and it just like gets my adrenaline going. And then I'll start thinking about like rapists and murderers and like people that I just want to beat the fuck out of. And I notice when I do that, I can press so much more weight. Like normally I'll do flies with 25s, 10 reps. And just today was chest day, coincidentally. I was doing flies with 40, doing 10 reps. And it was no problem. All
Let the hate fuel you.
Directly.
Use the dark side.
Directly. That is exactly what I do. That's it. Like I literally just think about like what
Anakin.
Yeah, like I'm doing flies right now. What if someone were to come up to me and fuck with me? Like I would gouge their eyes out with my thumbs.
One thought, and this is kind of fucked up, but I identify with what you were speaking of. I use this for chest presses, for bench pressing. I mean, I'll think of somebody like harassing my little sister.
Right,
and how
right.
much I want to beat the fuck out of them for doing that.
And it helps.
Yeah, and it does. Yeah,
Easily. It helps so much. Yeah, I've been doing that for a couple months now, and I felt like a freak, but it's nice to know that other people do that.
No, it genuinely helps to get angry. It fans your fire.
And that's why I don't like when women approach me at the gym. It's like I wear Apple AirPods.
How often does this happen?
if I'm in the gym 7 days a week, might happen.
7 days a
No.
week. Wow.
Maybe slightly less frequently than once a month. Maybe like once every 40 days. Which doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not a lot, but considering I'm a short ass, hairy, unattractive dude who's not particularly strong, if you just saw me in the gym and didn't know anything about me, I can't imagine. I mean, like, maybe someone could say, oh, well, you play a lot of instruments and that's cool, but you don't know that if I'm standing in a gym. I'm just some short dude with way too much hair who needs to shave. And it's, but no, it always happens when I'm doing, like, pull-ups, and that's actually it. It's actually the only time. It's always when I do pull-ups. Yeah.
So I guess when you just see a really hot chick, just start doing pull-ups. There you go.
No, I don't look at people in the gym. I don't want to deal with other people. If someone's hot, I don't give a shit because I don't care about you. I'm trying to kill lions here. Okay? I don't have time.
I'm trying to beat Adolf Hitler into the ground, okay?
Right.
In my mind.
There is a toddler in a lion's cage. You know, I don't have time for your tits. I don't care. I really don't.
Oh, speaking of, so we saw Deadpool 2 earlier this year, and
Yep.
I think I fell asleep during this part because that did happen during that movie. Unfortunately, it was really funny, but there's a scene that I just saw online of Deadpool going back in time to he's fixing the timelines, going back in time to kill baby Hitler. And he's even Deadpool couldn't do it. He ended up changing his diaper.
What?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that part?
Was it like a deleted scene?
I think it was a deleted scene.
Might
But
have
I
been a
thought that
deleted
was
scene.
funny because even Deadpool couldn't kill baby Hitler. You know how many people talk about that scenario? What would you do?
I'd kill him easy.
Yeah.
It's not a challenge. Like, but it's a baby. So what? That baby was once part of a star. Would you kill a star? That's all it is. It's just reassembled into something else. Don't put too much meaning into things. That's how you get depressed.
That's also how the Holocaust happens, apparently.
Yeah, Hitler? Yeah. Yeah. And the fucking... dude, and also, not a lot of people know this, but during World War II, in Germany, like during the Nazi regime, everybody had health care. Like, it's crazy. That was Hitler. And he was having people vaccinated. Flu shots. Oh, my God, dude.
TJ,
Yeah.
do you support single payer?
I believe that affordable health care is a right.
Don't pull a politician. Do you don't pull an Obama.
Look,
do you support single payer?
Look, the Affordable Care Act has helped many people.
The answer is yes, and you're a fucking Nazi.
Exactly. You are a Nazi if you support.
Logic is what that is.
Right. Oh my God, dude. That is about how people answer that though. When you ask a Democrat, do you support Medicare for all? Like, look, I believe that affordable health care is a right. Not what I asked. Not what I asked.
I think we should expand access to affordable care.
Right.
Expand access.
Oh yeah, so like we just allow people to buy across state lines. That makes sense. And then all the companies will just go to whatever state regulates them the least, and then everyone has really shitty healthcare from Missouri. That sounds nice.
That seems like a good idea.
That's a great plan. Did you think that up all on your own? Did you rub 2 whole brain cells to get that?
Why the fuck don't we just get rid of state governments? It's such a stupid idea. And
What?
and it allows politicians to play cute little games like that, you know, where you can go to the state if you have those regulations or those lack of regulations, where
Right.
you can go to the state that is the nicest to healthcare systems.
Yep.
Or
To the
companies.
to the insurers.
Yeah, to the insurers. And even, I mean, in some circumstances, it would even kind of hurt because, you know, you have like marijuana and you have like California passing net neutrality and now Republicans fucking suing them about it. You know, it would kind of hurt it in that sense, but I think it would do more good than harm because you still have Republicans playing little tricks like exactly going to Missouri for healthcare or trying to circumvent or take the teeth out of like abortion laws, you know. It's a dumb system, because why does the specific plot of land that you are on determine whether something is illegal or not illegal if you are in the same country? You know, you're in the same country, the laws should be the same everywhere.
The Humanist Report often goes after libertarians for that exact issue, and I've heard it a lot too. People, if you really question them on it, you'll get them to finally admit it. And what they say is they don't mind paying taxes, they just don't like paying federal taxes. And they believe that the federal government is inefficient because they were told that propaganda as kids, which is funny because we have the best highway system in the world, but government can't do anything right. But yeah, people just have, and that's another thing. Oh, government can't do anything right. Oh, how do you know that? Well, because this. No, I'm not asking what you know. I'm saying how. What led you to the conclusion that the government can't do anything right? But no, people like to pay state taxes because they like, oh well, the state governments are smaller, so there's less people they have to, so it's more efficient because there's less people they have to regulate. But the federal government's bigger. There's more employees. See how that works? And it's like, do you even know the name of your city's mayor or your personal councilman? I do. I mean, but you probably don't. So it's like, how can you say you care so much about like local governments? Like you're so about that and you're so against federal. But I agree with you. There shouldn't be state governments. There could be state representatives, sure, because each state has their own. Some have a lot of agriculture or whatever's going on.
Right, like
sure.
Keep senators.
Right, exactly.
I think that's cool. Keep congressmen.
Mm-hmm.
But why have different laws for different plots of land in the same country?
Right.
Like
we're not the divided states.
You cross one, like you're in one plot of land and you're fine. You walk 10 feet that way and you're breaking the law.
Right.
Time to go to prison.
It's like when people say, well, different places have different standards and different moralities.
Yeah, why?
To which I respond, I don't give a shit. We're all going to be on the same page. We're going to vote. Majority. Well, if we all vote, then the people in New York and L.A., we're going to win. That's where the majority of people live, so yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, the majority of all humans live on the coast. Not just humans. Almost all humans live on the coast.
Do you think that New York City, population 8 million, should have a little bit more sway over the policies of the country than Arkansas City, Kansas?
Right.
With a population of -6?
Right, exactly. So, well, all the people in the center of the country, their vote don't mean nothing. Okay, you know what? Why don't you move to New York then? Well, it's still not going to mean anything. Oh, so you just defeated your own point. So the location doesn't matter. What matters is the majority, and you don't want that.
We're supposed to be a democracy, so where the majority, majority rule.
I like how our founding fathers took extra time to make sure that they set up a government which was easily amendable, so that way in the future, if things change, we can change it to our liking. They went out, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, they went out of their way to make sure this is amendable, so if things change in the future, they can change. And here we are a couple hundred years later, and people are like, well, the founding fathers set it up this way, so we can't change it. That's the way it was. Like, no, what?
Motherfucker, why the hell do you think we have amendments?
Right. Like slavery was legal, now it's not. Boom.
You sure seem to like your Second Amendment.
Oh yeah. They love that. And nobody even know. I hate how dishonest people are, because I'm for the Second Amendment, but at least be honest. Stop saying it's about overthrowing the government. No, it's not. The Second Amendment was made for two reasons. One, so slaves wouldn't escape north out of Virginia. And two, so we could separate soldiers when they come back from war. We could separate them across the country and allow them to form their own personal militias, so that way they wouldn't gang up together and overthrow the government. So it's for one, slaves, and two, to prevent the government from being overthrown. Where does this idea come from that it's so that we can overthrow the government if they're tyrannical? Why the hell would the government want to be overthrown? Think. And then I did the same thing. I asked the people, how do you know that? Did you read it somewhere? Did Thomas Jefferson, because he wrote a lot. him and Madison wrote back and forth all the time. You can read what they write. It's really easy. Did you read something I didn't? Could you point me to the letter that said that? Oh, no. Oh, but we have all these documents of them talking about the Virginian slaves because what's just north of Virginia, right? That's now the North, where slavery was at the time not acceptable. And they're saying, well, we need guns so that way we can prevent our slaves from escaping north. And that was a big, I think it was Madison who was against. You can fact check me. This is all public knowledge. But one of them was against it, but for keeping Virginia in the Union was one of the big things that helped push to get that amendment passed. So be honest about it. I say it's a good thing we have it, but its origin is really fucked up. You know, like chocolate chip cookies. This woman was trying to make chocolate cookies. She didn't have the right ingredients, so she chopped up some chocolate, put it into cookies, thought it would melt, and it didn't. It was horrible, but the end result is fucking delicious. So just because something has a bad origin story doesn't mean it's not a good thing. You fucking cookies.
In conclusion, your Second Amendment right is chocolatey goodness.
We're going to be labeled like alt-right fucking lunatics.
Disturbing story on an alt-right podcast last night where two Arizonans went off about the Second Amendment and how it's good because they're for slavery. Tim, what do you have to say?
Well, I'm not sure what their negative 17 listeners had to say, but yeah, it's this whole movement, I think, what the fuck was it? March for Our Lives, which is everyone's forgotten about by now, unfortunately.
March for who? What?
What now?
Is this part of the ditto? Hashtag ditto? Or me too? Sorry.
Totes.
I say hashtag ditto. Sounds better than me too.
But all they're trying to do is just put common sense regulations, make it like buying a car to get a gun, and that's it.
But that's infringing on our rights to own a gun.
To shoot people with AR-15s and bump stocks. I'm sorry, do you need that to kill elk?
Well, I always say, like, look, to all these people that think that liberals want to take your guns away, one, please keep saying that because it's really good entertainment for me. And
it's super funny.
It's funny as hell when people say that. But also, why would liberals want to take away guns? Do you know what liberals are? Scientists, mostly. Do you know what scientists know? They know that grizzly bears exist in this country. You telling me you want a gun-free country where there are grizzly bears? You can fuck yourself, sir. No liberal would ever say no to guns when there are grizzly bears. You ever hear someone make that point? It's a dumb point, but if you say it with eyes wide enough in a serious enough voice, someone has to respond.
Or you yell like Tommy Lahren or Bill O'Reilly.
When these fucking liberals want all this fucking socialized medicine and all this, they want to be Venezuela.
Venezuela!
Yeah, you know, Norway is quite different from Venezuela.
Oh, did you you saw that thing about Trish Reagan? That this is fake news, or not old news. Sorry, not fake news. It's
a common term now.
It's a reflex for me because I say it a lot.
Fake news.
I say it with the Donald Trump accent
Fake
too.
news.
Believe me, I say it a lot. Believe me, it's tremendous.
I used to say citation, please.
Believe me, citation, please.
Citation, please. Like a fucking professor.
Yeah, the Trish Reagan video of her bashing Norway and saying how shit it is, basically, and comparing it to Venezuela.
Oh yeah,
and then a Norwegian politician did a video response to her and was basically like, "You're a dumbass." One of her points was, yeah, people get paid to go to school, so they never leave school. But they have higher graduation rates than we do here. They have a lower rate of unemployment. It's just a better country in every metric.
Yeah. Right. I mean, and the thing is, like, it's not un-American to say this. In fact, even Kyle Kalinske, who I know you listen to a lot,
love Kyle.
Even he said, if it were up to him, he would want to have the best infrastructure in the world, and I agree with him. Like that, That's why I want to because we have a current the civil engineers give us a D plus rating in our national fucking. Why am I drawing a blank?
On our report card.
I just said the word like a second ago. Infrastructure. There we go. So it's like, okay, why don't we invest more, and not just invest more to get better infrastructure, but why not be the best in the world? Why not lead the world in this? Why not lead the world in healthcare? Why not just be better than everybody at everything?
Because
We're
it's
the
not
richest
as
country.
profitable for the people at the top. That's
Yeah,
why.
Yeah, but who cares? Like
The people at the top who
Oh,
have the
that's right.
power.
they
They
how
want to
dumb.
remain at the top. Yes. So that's essentially how it goes.
Yeah, it's like, oh, but all these people with power, who cares? Them. It's horrible. It's horrible because we could easily have a country where people can just live their life. Oh, how about this? I'm talking about Social Security for all, expanding Social Security, or some people call it universal basic income, but I prefer saying Social Security for all. But we were talking about that the other day, me and some other people. And what I realized is because of automation, not just with Uber drivers and Teslas that drive themselves and stuff like that, but even Elon Musk, he's working on his own AI. People everywhere are working on AI. It's getting to a point where it's going to need to be regulated soon, but it's not going to be. It's getting to a point where in the near future, in our lifetimes, a lot of jobs are not going to exist. They just aren't. They're going to be automated, done by computers, done by robots. This will happen. This probably happen before I graduate college. The second college, graduate school, meaning. So we're going to be at a point where it's going to be realistic to say not only may we have something like 10 or 15% unemployment someday, but there might be a good, like right now, the best unemployment to have is about 5%. You want for our country, about 5% unemployment. Less than that's bad, more than that's bad. It might be the case that maybe 15% is going to be, because there's going to be so many just jobs that aren't going to exist. And people are going to be going through a lot of frictional unemployment, which if someone is not familiar with economics, that just means basically it's like you're in between jobs. Think of it like that. But you're unemployed because your job is no longer needed. It's going to be a lot of frictional unemployment. And it'd be nice to have, I did the math. If you paid every adult Americans, regardless, just any 18 plus, all of them, $700 per month every month in lieu of our welfare programs, it would be a third the cost of what we pay for our current welfare programs.
But it would make people lazy, even though there are studies to show that that's not the case.
Right. Actually, in fact, make them not lazy, because there are many states where unemployment pays more than minimum wage, whereas under my system, you get $700 a month. You can't live on that. But if you get fired, $700 a month, that'll at least get your food. Or if you are employed, you can save that on the side for if you ever become unemployed.
Right, and then you'll have a little bit of a cushion for
a couple months.
Yeah. If you ever do get fired, then you're good.
Yeah. Well, it's not. It doesn't take a genius to realize what poverty does to people, or what like hopelessness does to people. I mean, even for myself personally, recently, because like I said, I'm not going to school anymore, and that's really depressing to me. And I don't know how to say this. I don't think I really want to say this on the podcast either, but it's very easy to see that when there's less going for you, you are definitely more willing to do things that you never thought you'd be capable of doing. I heard a story of this guy on Joe Rogan podcast where he was convicted of murder, but he was innocent. He was let go like 20 or 25 years later. He was on death row the entire time, and then DNA evidence cleared him. But he was at a point where he was telling the story where he was going to the restroom. He was in between prisons, and he went in with this cop, and this cop was going to the restroom too, and they were chatting, and the cop that was in the car didn't know that the cop who was going to the restroom was in the restroom, and so he sees the prisoner walking out without a cop, and he's not thinking anything because he's like, I'm just walking back to the car now, like, no big deal. But then he assumes that that the other cop was attacked, so the cop by the car starts shooting at him, and so he starts running away. And he just talks about all these things he does where he starts robbing people's cars and doing all these horrible, horrible things. But it's like, in people listening to the podcast, even people in the comments, like, oh, he sounds, this guy went through a lot, but he's kind of like a monster. He does all this shit. Like, no, you would do the same thing. You could be the nicest, greatest person in the world. If you were put into a shitty situation, guess what? Do you know what Nazis are? Humans, just like you. You know what Stalin was? A human, just like you. The shit that made them is in you too, and me, and everyone.
That's a good point. I mean, people are generally moral are conditionally moral. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
A good movie.
That's a good way to say it, actually.
Conditionally moral.
I like
yeah.
that.
A good movie about this that I like, because I've actually thought about this topic a lot, is Toy Story. Believe it or not. Well, think about it. Woody is this like great. He's like this great. He's this great guy that everybody loves. Everybody looks up to.
Runs these meetings.
The second Buzz Lightyear shows up, the second he steals the thunder, and the second he becomes unpopular,
Bo Peep starts looking at those lasers like,
right, exactly, and he starts kind of becoming a piece of shit, like morality and
he tries
like
to kill
being
Buzz. Outside the pizza joint.
exactly, morality and being the good guy is conditional for, I think, everybody, essentially.
Definitely. Yeah, because we're a lot more alike than we think we are. We like to think we're individual, much like how dolphins probably think they're all individuals. But to us, they're all the same goddamn thing. And to us, or to them, we're probably the same goddamn thing. That's just the way animals work. But we like to think we're special, but we're not. It's like the reason I love to watch. So I like to listen to a lot of my own songs just because I like hate myself, and so I'm just trying to get better. And you improve, I think, when you critique yourself. But I like to watch videos of myself, especially ones that are multiple years old, because I will watch myself as a subject, not as myself, and I'll analyze what I do and think, why do I do that? Why do I walk like that? Why do I turn my head? Because we don't realize these things about ourselves. We just do what it is. And if you watch a video of yourself from like yesterday, you're not going to think much of it because you still identify with it. But if you see a video of yourself from like 4 or 5 years ago, it's no longer really you anymore. You can think of it as somebody else. So you can watch them and kind of critique them. And it's like, why do you do that? Why does he do that? And I do that to myself all the time. I think it's a way to better myself. Maybe I'm just driving myself mad. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, people do such weird things,
I think we're just we're a bag of chain reactions. It
does make sense.
If you poke us or prod us a certain way, we're likely to respond a certain way. Yeah. Like you were saying, like if you're deprived of food or water,
or purpose,
your
motivation,
right, you're probably going to do some pretty shitty things to try to survive.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
To meet those hierarchy of needs.
There are so many activities that that had been going through my head, as in like ways I could go back to school, and a lot of them were completely illegal, and I wasn't going to do. But I thought just the fact that these even entered my mind is crazy to me, because these are things I would have never considered, and here I am like scheming, thinking, oh, here's what I could do. But it's I don't know.
That's almost an exclusively American thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, you can't. You're filled with anxiety every day, because you live in a country that essentially cares about corporations more than they care about you, and and that price gouges the shit out of you for everything. So, in many cases, you can never really have a future for most people. 51% of the country makes $30,000 a year or less. 36% of the country has some form of a tertiary degree. So where the majority of the country is uneducated, and over half of them make barely enough, if any, to survive, let alone support a family. And you want to have a kid in this country? Fuck you.
And it's like 67 or 68% of Americans can't afford a $500 emergency.
Right.
Like you're $500 away from bankruptcy.
I'm a fucking security guard, for people who don't know. And I look at some of the people around me who have full-fledged families, and I'm like, how did you do that?
Dude, it's because they eat bullshit. They do I mean, I'm not giving them shit. I'm saying this is what they have to do to have a family. Because I mean,
Or
you,
they just go in massive amounts of debt.
or that. I mean, you and I, we're both single dudes. I mean, so all we really have to take care of is ourselves.
And
But
that's
even
hard
that,
enough.
That's pretty hard.
Yeah.
And now throwing
Can barely do that.
right, and I can slack off every now and then. Like if I want something, I can just say, nah, I'm not going to get that. But if you have a kid, you can't slack off on your kid. That's your fucking kid. You know, it gets one chance at life, and you're the one who has to bring it up. If that's my kid, I'm gonna goddamn take care of it.
I honestly think. I mean, I've been having doubts about having kids in general, just because of population increase. Plus, I haven't really reached a point in my life, and I don't think that will happen anytime soon, where I really feel satisfied enough to want to bring a kid into the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be a little bit selfish first before I bring another human being who I have to give all this attention to. But thinking about that,
Well, bringing a human being into the world is pretty selfish, I think. Because it's
Well-
like, why'd you bring a kid into the world? I wanted
Right.
to have a kid. Oh,
But
you wanted a kid. Selfish bitch.
I've been thinking about all that, and I honestly don't think I would ever want to raise a kid in this country, because it's so expensive. Not to mention, like, the cultural shit that they would grow up with, that you and I have grown up with, that, I mean, we can talk to other people.
Exact reason I don't date Americans.
Yeah.
I just don't. It's a cultural thing. It's crazy because even I know some female Americans who I say I connect with a tiny bit, and I talk to them, but there's always that little bit that's in them that they just can't get out. The little bit of too much propaganda, little bit too much right leaning, little too religious. It's just like, why am I in the English speaking Saudi Arabia? Why? You know, when Kimberly said that to me, when she first time she visited America, and said that the Christians here are like the Christian version of ISIS in Saudi Arabia, that was like, remember How I Met Your Mother, like the glass shattering sound effect? Like when you realize something.
Yeah.
That's what that was to me. And
I mean, the level of fundamentalism is certainly there. I mean, do you remember that meme that was circling the internet of this this Christian woman posing in front of an American flag with a Bible and a fucking
gun.
rifle?
Yeah.
And then they post the exact same thing, just the Muslim version.
she was in like a burqa or something. I
Yeah,
think.
with the Quran.
Yep.
She had an AK-47, and she was posing in front of, what flag was that? I don't remember.
I think
Was it not an Iranian flag or something?
I thought it was legit just the ISIS flag. The
Oh, was
black,
it?
The black one.
I don't
with the
remember.
white.
It was a green flag.
Oh,
it was a
if
green
it was
flag.
green, that's not ISIS. I don't remember them.
I don't know, but it was it was the same thing. And then the tagline to that was, "What's the difference?" And the answer is, there is none.
Yeah, well, people are retarded because they don't think with their brains, and it's crazy when you, because I know there's this girl in a chemistry class I had, or a chemistry laboratory class, I suppose. We were talking about politics because what the hell else do you do in chemistry? Fuck chemistry. But she was saying, it's like, well, I mean, we are founded as a Christian nation.
Not true.
And I literally
Not
said,
true.
Literally said, no, we weren't. And her question was, word for word, how do you figure? I'm sorry. That's a null hypothesis. How do I figure a null hypothesis?
You took social studies like at least once, right?
Right. Did you read?
You know how we you know how we came, or how the Brits came to this plot of land here to get away from religion,
right?
To get away from the Church of England,
like legitimately,
right? And how we set up the
That's
First
the
Amendment,
purpose.
the fucking First Amendment,
the first 10 words.
Congress
shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion.
Yeah,
comma.
exactly. Boom.
First thing they put in there.
Judeo-Christian values. Something Judeo-Christian values.
And if you're so patriotic, dude, the United States holds the record for the world's first secular nation. Yeah. Also, we're the only secular nation in the entire United Nations. That's pretty fucking cool.
Right. We don't have an established religion, you dumbass.
Right.
We're not a Christian nation. Most of the inhabitants here
Are
are
Christian, yes.
That does not mean that we're a Christian nation.
I agree with Christopher Hitchens, though, because you got England, which is a Christian nation full of atheists, and then you have America, which is a secular nation full of Christians. The United States needs to become a Christian nation, so that way we can get more secularists and people not believing in ancient archaic bullshit. That'd be cool, I think. Yeah, because that's what England does. They're a Christian nation, and over 50% of the population's atheist.
It's growing here, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It used to be 3%. When I first became an atheist, it was 3%, and now a couple years later I saw it 5%, and now people are saying that up to 20% of people are nuns, N-O-N-E-S. For religion.
I know the population among younger people, millennials specifically,
Much higher.
It's a lot higher. Yeah, percentage.
Every
of
generation gets about 3 IQ points higher. So.
millennials
Well, 6 IQ points, sorry. It's 3 IQ points
who
per
are
decade.
non-religious. Because I'm lazy and I don't want to type shit in. Millennials are increasing. 35% of millennials do not identify as religious.
Yeah, I'm kind of... I wish they would phrase the question better, because they always do that, the nuns. I don't like that, because a lot of people say, I'm not religious, I'm a Christian. And even I said that when I was a dumbass, indoctrinated child. I'm not religious, I'm a Christian. Because it's like a Christian ideal in a lot of non-denominational churches.
Like a cultural thing?
No.
Like, I don't get that statement, honestly.
So, well, it's a non-denominational Christian idea. And the idea is that religion is a bad thing. Religion is like Catholicism is a religion. Evangelicals are a religion. But if you're a non-denominational Christian, you're not religious. You just have a relationship with God. That's legitimately what...
So be a deist if you want, if that's what
No, but they're
is.
Christians. They're full Christians. Like me.
Yeah.
Like if you would have asked me when I was 15 years old...
I know, I remember.
Yeah, but if you would have said, TJ, are you religious? I legit would have said no.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a Christian thing. So that's why I don't like that when people say. I prefer it when it says, "Are you an atheist? Yes or no?"
That reminds me of conversations that I would have with my family growing up. For those of you who don't know, my family is from Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. So there, you can imagine that they're pretty fucking religious and right wing.
The gems of America.
And I remember my aunt. I was in high school. I dated a Mormon girl, and I was telling my aunt about this.
I dated a Mormon too.
You want a cookie? Let's join the club. We
can't
have
eat
meetings
cookies.
every Thursday. Anyways, I dated a Mormon. I was telling her about it, and she's like, "Wow, Mormons, they're just a fucking cult." Meanwhile, the next morning, she got up and went to mass. So, and I held my tongue, but oh man, Joe Rogan has this thing. I know you've heard him say it, where he goes, "Yeah, so a cult." Is essentially what's the how does the phrasing go again?
A cult is when one guy makes it up. It's bullshit. He knows it's bullshit. In a religion, that guy's dead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's
so fucking true.
Yeah, that's why Scientology is a religion. They just made it because he died a couple decades ago.
Yeah, L. Ron Hubbard. Yeah.
He wrote more fiction than literally any other author in history. But that book was legit though.
I'm sure.
He holds the record for most seriously, you could look it up. You say, what author has written most fiction? He's written more fiction. I've also read that he didn't do a lot of drafting. Like he would generally do one draft, send it to a publisher, and that would be it. So that might have contributed why he was able to put out so much fiction.
Probably, and why Battlefield Earth was such shit.
Yeah, because I don't know if it's true. I just read that he usually did single drafts.
Have you seen Battlefield Earth though?
No.
Oh,
is that a movie?
Yeah.
I don't really watch movies.
It's somehow it's I don't know if it's like it. I think it has like a The Room quality to it.
I would watch that.
It's so bad it's good.
I would watch that.
It's so fucking bad. It's got John Travolta in it too.
That's even better.
Yeah, no, because he's a Scientologist, so of course he had to jump in.
He's a crazy kind of Scientologist too.
Yeah, like Tom Cruise level.
Tom Cruise is like a normal kind of Scientologist. Like I mean, he's a crazy person, sure, but I mean, in the sense that Tom Cruise he's legitimately trying to be a good person, at least. Like that's his goal, you know. Fucking wig wearing. Travolta's wig, his new one's really good though. Like the fading in the front.
I've not paid attention to John Travolta for the past 37 years.
I was researching him for about an hour earlier today. Again, I'm not going to school. I literally run out of things to do. but yeah, no, he's got a new wig, and it's so good. The front of it looks like it's fading, like normal people's hair do. You would have no idea it's a wig. Like wig technology's crazy now.
I mean, you could probably afford pretty good plugs when you're a multi-millionaire.
That's true. Yeah, when you have more money than you know what to do with, you can probably afford whatever the hell you want.
That's why Jeff Bezos, even though he's a fucking nerd, he's ripped as shit because he pays for nutritionists and personal trainers.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Like the best ones.
Oh, I don't
sure.
know. I don't. It's like when people say, I am never, ever, ever impressed when an actor gets ripped for a movie. Are you impressed by that?
I mean, I'm impressed at the rate of change for certain actors.
I'm not. And here's why. Because if you paid me millions of dollars and a studio provided me a personal trainer and personal chefs, and my only job was just to work out all the time, and I can do steroids, and I have 6 to 8 months to get in shape, I don't know who couldn't do that.
Dude, if I had the money, I would hire a personal trainer to work out with me for like an hour, like every day.
Yeah.
And get nutritionists and all of that, and like take steroids.
Yep.
And be monitored by a doctor every step of the way.
I'd
You'd be jacked in 2 months.
I'd have my own chef, so I don't have to waste time making food. I want it done and ready by the time I get. That's what the Rock does. He has chefs at his own house that make his food for him.
Wow.
Yeah. They put it in glass Tupperware for him so he can take it to work. And just microwave it.
Where he works out.
Yeah, well, or if he's on set, too. Because they'll have microwaves.
I'm sure The Rock has something in his contract to where it's like he will be bench pressing between takes. No exceptions.
Guy who plays Captain America and Thor do that. They have 15 and 20 pound dumbbells when they're not. They have to do curls the entire time they're not shooting. And the guy, I can't remember his name. The guy who played Chris Evans or something. Is that no? That's not.
That's Thor. That's Captain America.
Chris Evans. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Chris Evans is Captain America. Chris Hemsworth is Thor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chris Evans, I saw in an interview saying, I can't remember if it was like 12 or 14, but he was saying like a 12 or 14 hour day, which for these big Marvel movies, that's pretty normal for them to shoot that long. He was saying like by the end of the day, you know, you're flipping exhausted, even though it's just like little weights. You have to keep doing that so that way your veins are still popped and you look like a god. The guy who played Bane, Tom Hardy, he did push-ups until exhaustion, and then right when he stood up, then they turned on the camera and started rolling, which also helped him talk slower, like he was out of breath, because he really was. It's such a good idea, because I mean, go to the gym and work out, and then you look in the mirror and it's like, oh my god, I'm fucking ripped. And then you get home and a couple hours later it's like, where'd it go? You know? So
it bounces back pretty quickly.
right,
you got to do that for years for it to actually stay.
I mean, it'll never just stay though, because I mean your muscles are. I mean, if you're not using them, why? There's no reason to push extra blood to them.
They're gonna slack off.
Right. I mean, granted, Dwayne Johnson when he sleeps is still gonna look better than me when I'm working out, just because that guy's fucking huge. But if you want Dwayne Johnson to look as good as Dwayne Johnson can, have him do a bunch of push-ups before you start shooting.
Magic of Hollywood.
Yep, his veins pop, his muscles will appear more toned.
Anyways, man, I think that's a good stopping point.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. If someone tuned in, actually, Callum said he was going to listen to this. So, hey, Callum.
Hey, man, I don't know you, but thanks.
Thanks, man.
You're our one listener.
You're our listener.
Not even my mom tunes into this.
No, my parents don't even know about this. Why'd I fucking tell them that? Like, hey, I have this show where I openly talk about my atheism and my political views, and they would just shit themselves.
Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. Knock on wood. Anyways, you have a wonderful evening, folk who listen to this.
You're calling him folk now? Like how he's like I'm so set on the fact that he's the only one listening.
That's why I didn't say folks.
Oh, haha. I see what you did there.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Thank you for listening to our broadcast.
Goodbye.
Please tune in next week, or don't. I don't really care. Have a good night, and goodbye.